You should almost never have your lock of the week, survivor pick, whatever you want to call it, suicide pool, whatever. You should never have that for an away team, they say. I don't care. I cannot see the Chiefs losing a second straight game. This time to the Carolina Panthers.
You're tuned in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Guiding your gridiron journey, none other than your host, former NFL lineman, Ross Tucker.
Oh, yeah, it is. But it's not just any Ross Tucker Football Podcast. It is a Finish Strong Friday, a Picks Friday, a Winners Friday, presented, of course, by DraftKings. I'm Ross Tucker, former NFL offensive lineman, 5 teams, 7 years. Like I like to say, most of you already know that because we get a lot of loyal listeners or people that check us out. YouTube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. But hopefully, we are often gaining new listeners or new viewers. So, for those of you that don't understand my background, I am in a hotel room in Houston, Texas right now because I'm a broadcaster and I'm going to be doing the Titans at the Texans on Sunday for CBS. So the way the NFL works is today I will go to the Houston Texans practice and then I'll meet with D'Amico Ryans and CJ Stroud, Daniil Hunter, Nico Collins in order to prep for the game. So that is why I am on the road for this show. Here's what I do on Friday. I recap, in this instance, what was one of the coolest Thursday night games we have ever seen. Awesome. For so many different reasons. Very much looking forward to telling you guys about it momentarily. Then I make my picks straight up. If you want against the spread, you have to listen or watch the Even Money Betting podcast. We also have the College Draft podcast, which is kind of 3 shows in one. We talk the biggest college football games. We talk the best prospects. And Emery makes his picks against the spread for college football. And then the Fantasy Feast podcast is really 2 episodes every week where John Daigle tells you about the fantasy relevant skill guys in each game. Really informative, even if you're not a big fantasy person. If you're into prop betting, I highly recommend Fantasy Feast podcast as well. Ross Tucker Football Podcast is daily. Monday, I give you my takeaways and thoughts from every game on from Sunday. Tuesday, I give you my power rankings typically. Wednesday is when we usually have a special surprise guest. Thursday, we have the civilian GOAT, Greg Cosell. Friday is when I give you my picks, and so it's a Picks Friday. It is a Winners Friday, and it's a Finish Strong Friday. So Finish Strong Friday because I want all of you to feel good about what you accomplished today for your family so you can just enjoy watching football all weekend. I cannot believe on 2 flights from Harrisburg to Houston that I forgot to pick winners. That was not smart of me. So I didn't pick someone who spread the word via social media at Ross Tucker Pod, at Ross Tucker NFL, or someone that took advantage of one of our awesome sponsors, which, by the way, means you still can. Which means I'm going to pick it probably tomorrow while I'm sitting around the hotel room. So go ahead and engage with that Ross Tucker Pod on social media or on the sponsor confirmation email. Take advantage of the Game Time app or get a free estimate at westshorehome.com/Ross or buy one of those boxes at FutureFan, which is FutureFans.com, such a very, very cool gift. There's a lot of ways you can be the sponsor confirmation email winner. And then the YouTube shout out, all you have to do is subscribe to the YouTube page, youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL, and make any comment. And I'll do a personalized video. That'd be a cool gift, actually, as well. At any rate, I blew it with the winners. I won't blow it with the rest of the show. It's Big Show time.
The Big Show.
All right, Ross, the Browns, they beat the Steelers in a winter wonderland, 24-19.
What an incredible game. And my Thursday Night Football recap is, of course, this is perfect timing, presented by Labatt Blue Light. Drink some Labatt Blue Lights with your friends and live life to the power of we. Unfortunately, they did not have Labatt Blue Light last night at this place I was in Houston watching the first half of the game. I did have some daddy sodas. I was wishing they were Labatt Blue Light. Always enjoy responsibly. Beer, Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York. Jack, it felt like a Buffalo game. It felt like a New England game. It felt like an AFC North game. It was crazy. You know what the craziest part about it might be, now that I'm thinking about it? There were a lot more points scored in the snow than before the snow, which is kind of wild when you think about it. I mean, when the weather was like perfectly fine, I guess it was windy and there were flurries or whatever, but when the weather was essentially perfectly fine, it was like a low scoring, slugfest. I think it was 10-3 at halftime. The Browns had the lead, and then the second half was played in a snow globe. I'm guessing a lot of you have already seen some of the highlights from the game, or you at least are aware that that's about as hard as it snows during an NFL game. It's not quite Lions-Eagles, LaShawn McCoy special, but there was a lot of snow during that game last night. And it was wild because you've got, all right, so the Browns are up 10-3, and it's kind of like a normal slugfest game, AFC North, more or less what you've probably come to expect. The Browns absolutely came to play in a home game, primetime game against a hated rival. I kind of thought that they would. And then the Steelers kick a field goal to make it 10-6. The Browns go down, and Jameis Winston runs in for a touchdown. They're up 18. They go for two, and they get it. They're up 18-6, okay, with 12 minutes left in a bad snowstorm. And all the Steelers had gotten all game was 2 field goals. So you're thinking, okay, Browns got this. Awesome for them. Tough loss for the Steelers after that Ravens win. Blah, 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 blah. But no, it wasn't over. Kudos to the Steelers and Russell Wilson. I'm so impressed that they were able to battle back from that. They go down, and Russell Wilson converts a couple of passes on the drive and then scores a touchdown. So next thing you know, they are up. Now it's 18-12. No, 18-13 or 18-12. I can't remember. By the way, Russell Wilson played pretty darn well, especially considering they couldn't block Myles Garrett, who had 3 sacks in the first half. Russell Wilson started the game 11 of 11 for 147 yards, but he kept getting sacked. But then late, they scored that touchdown. Then the only thing the Browns can't do on the next drive, fumble the ball. Of course, that's what the Browns do. Jameis Winston fumbles. Steelers get it back. Russell Wilson throws a beautiful touchdown pass to Calvin Austin. And now it went from 12 minutes left, Steelers down 2 scores, 12 points, to now they're 6 minutes left, and they're up by a point. They did not get the 2-point conversion, but the Browns would not be denied. Unbelievable. I mean, they go the length of the field, mixing in a little bit of Chubb, but honestly, it was mainly Jameis Winston, who overall played very well. He had a bad interception, had a bad fumble, both in the fourth quarter, and they still won when he took them all the way down the field. Nick Chubb scored. Mike Tomlin had some questionable game management, clock management, I would say, at the end of each half. Taking penalties when he probably should have declined it, using a timeout in a bad spot. Ultimately, it was a fantastic football game. It's the type of game that makes me proud to be associated with the NFL because, the 2-8 Browns could have laid down snow and all that stuff. Oh, which reminds me, the Cleveland Browns fans are unbelievable. Dude, unbelievable. Nobody left. They were going crazy the whole time. They are diehard. I mean this. I love everybody that listens to the show or watches the show, but I love every Browns fan there's ever been. Those people are the most loyal, diehard, Just phenomenal. Absolutely, absolutely awesome. All right, we got to get to the other games, Jack. Jack, before we get to my picks, I want to let you know my biggest pick for any of you for a holiday gift. It's a new shower, or maybe a full bathroom remodel, or maybe it's just a new front door like I'm getting on Wednesday, all from westshorehome.com/Ross. Now, I've gotten the front door before, and if you've gone to westshorehome.com/Ross, you've seen that. But now I'm getting the side garage door and the door going in to my detached garage. Very much looking forward to it. You get free installation plus 18 months, no interest, no payments. Here's the thing. For showers only, they are guaranteeing install by Christmas or it's free. That is amazing. westshorehome.com/Ross. Can you imagine how excited your wife will be? westshorehome.com/Ross. Smirnoff knows there's no I in football. It's a we thing. An experience best enjoyed together with good drinks and good folks. There's a reason why Smirnoff's the world's #1 vodka and an official vodka partner of the NFL. This year, there are more opportunities to watch football and make delicious Smirnoff cocktails than ever before. Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Christmas, Smirnoff and the NFL are here with you every step of the way. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff #21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol by volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please do not share with anyone under legal drinking age. Smirnoff, we do game days.
Want to know which team is going to win every single game on Sunday? Then listen up.
All right, we're starting with the Chiefs. They're traveling to Carolina to play the Panthers.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know this was the first game, but I think this has got to be. Now, you shouldn't do your lock of the week for an away team. I don't care. It's presented by Larceny Weeded Bourbon. Lock in a win and seize tonight. Bardstown, Kentucky, 46% alcohol by volume. Think wisely, drink wisely. It's my Larceny lock of the week. You should almost never have your lock of the week, survivor pick, whatever you want to call it, suicide pool, whatever. You should never have that for an away team, they say. I don't care. I cannot see the Chiefs losing a second straight game. This time to the Carolina Panthers. Wow. We'll have a much different conversation if the Chiefs lose to the Panthers and then put home field advantage in jeopardy, especially with the way the Broncos and Chargers are playing now. Panthers have been a good story the last couple weeks. They're not the Chiefs. Kansas City 24, Carolina 17.
Next up, we got NFC North battle. The Vikings, they travel to Chicago to play the Bears.
Yeah, see, that like last night's game, that was like this type of game. A Vikings against the Bears type of game. You know, the Bears definitely did some better things on offense, and I thought Greg did a nice job of talking about that on yesterday's show and also highlighting what they were trying to do to get him more comfortable, him being Caleb Williams, which, by the way, is what they should do. Wouldn't be surprised at all if the Bears win this game. Feels like the Vikings have been on the road, like at Jacksonville, at Tennessee, at Chicago. What is the deal? How long have the Vikings been on the road here? Unless I'm missing something or missing a game. At any rate, I have a sneaky suspicion about this game. I'm going to take the Vikings. I'll tell you why. Watching the Titans-Vikings, I thought Sam Darnold played very well against a good Titans defense. And then conversely, the Bears, I don't know how Caleb Williams is going to perform. I think Brian Flores is going to get him a few times. I think he's going to be confused a few times. So I'm going to take the Vikings to win the game. I think it's close. I think it could go either way. But I'll say 20-17, Minnesota.
Next up is a game you might know a thing or two about. Tennessee Titans. They are at the Texans in Houston.
And so am I. Went to Tom's Watch Bar last night with my buddy Sean Prendergast, who does a great job on morning radio here in Houston. I'm on with him and Seth Payne every week, Tuesday, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central. Do a bunch of radio hits around the country. So, you know, this interesting one, bitter rivals, right? Going back to the whole Houston Oilers thing and the franchise left and all that stuff. And I thought, well, first of all, the Titans defense has played pretty well all year. And I thought that Will Levis, I think the last two games were certainly his two best games this year. So that's a real feather in his cap. I think that's a huge positive. He's going to need that, though, because the Titans are struggling on the offensive line. They had 33 yards rushing on 19 carries against Minnesota last week, and their pass protection has not been great, in particular the right side, in particular the right tackle position. And so now you've got the Texans, who may or may not get Will Anderson back, but we saw Monday night what they did with Daniil Hunter and Settle's playing well and Danico Autry. That feels like it's going to be problematic for Will Levis on the road. Flip side, though, is Titans D-line. I like this young kid, Tavondre Sweat. Jeffrey Simmons has always been fantastic against the Texans O-line that has been a little bit of a disappointment this year. I'll take the Texans. You know, every division game has been a one-score game. I think every home game has been a one-score game. So I will continue with those trends, and I'll go 23-20 Texans.
Next up, the Colts. They're hosting the Detroit Lions.
So I'm hopeful and hoping or whatever that Anthony Richardson can play as well as he did last week. You know, the league is better when there are more good quarterbacks, when there are more fun quarterbacks, when there are more emerging young quarterbacks. So I'm hopeful that that's the case with Anthony Richardson and that he can play at a high level again. You know, the Lions are starting to leak on the defensive side of the ball, not necessarily with their production so far, but just with some of the injuries they've sustained. I just don't know that the Colts are going to be able to slow down this Lions offense. I'll take the Lions to win the game. Can the Colts get into a little bit of a shootout with them maybe? How about 28-24? Detroit wins.
Got an AFC East battle with the Dolphins hosting the Patriots.
Right. Listen, the Dolphins kind of on a roll, kind of on a mission right now. I give their franchise a lot of credit for not kind of starting to trade off parts when people thought they should. They knew that they were playing better once they got Tua back. It's crazy they lost those 3 games in a row, right? The Cardinals, before that it was the Colts, and then the Bills. Even if they just won one of those, the Dolphins' playoff hopes would be very alive and well. They're still in it, but the Broncos playing so well is a tough thing for them. For the Patriots, we say it all the time, but it's like it's the rest of the team that's been letting down Drake May as opposed to the opposite. I just don't see the Patriots. It's probably going to be hot in Miami again in November. It seemingly always is. Patriots aren't really ready for that. The Dolphins are firing on all cylinders right now. I think it's a respectable outcome. 23-17, Dolphins.
Next is the return of Tommy DeVito with the Giants hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
What a weird week for the Giants. I mean, you've got your best player, Dexter Lawrence, calling out the franchise. You've got Daniel Jones doing like I know, it's almost like a retirement press conference before week 12 in the NFL while he's still on the team. Like, said he was willing to adjust his contract so he could keep playing. That's kind of wild, man. And the Giants still didn't do it. I don't know the intricacies of the details, but I feel like starting with Hard Knocks, this season has been a really bad look for the Giants. It just is. It's just a bad look all around for the Giants and the way they've gone about their business this year. I'm taking the Bucs to win the game. I don't know. Maybe Tommy DeVito runs around. Maybe he gives them a boost. But, man, based on the reaction of some of the Giants players, it certainly doesn't seem like they're fired up that DeVito's playing or that they're a team that's going to get the new quarterback boost. It doesn't feel that way at all. I'll say the Bucs win 20-16. Maybe DeVito gets some field goals. The Bucs defense hasn't been great, but I'll say 20-16. They hold DeVito out of the end zone a few times.
Got a Tucker Bowl. The Cowboys at the Commanders.
I have started multiple of these games. I've been a part of at least 4 of these games, not counting the year I was on IR when I got hurt. It's a bitter rival. And for so many years, Jack, it has been the Cowboys were good and the Commanders were bad, right? And the Commanders, it's flipped. It's the other way around, which, man, Commanders fans, Washington fans, I know a lot of you don't like the nickname. Just soak this in because it doesn't happen very often, and you guys absolutely deserve it. I think Washington wins. I don't even know if Dallas stays competitive. If I guess they've been better on the road than they have been at home, so maybe they will be. And the Commanders haven't been as good the last couple of weeks. I think they bounce back though. I think the Cowboys kind of packed it in. Let's say 27-17. Commanders win by 10. They could have been a decent pick for lock of the week as well, I guess.
Got no divisional battle this time in the AFC West with the Broncos being at the Raiders.
The Raiders. By the way, after the Broncos just won that game and smashed the Falcons, this would be the type of game they would lose, right? Like this is how that works, where they would now lose this game. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I don't. I think the Broncos are a well-coached, mature team, even though they've got a rookie quarterback, and I'm a little bit concerned about the Raiders. Minshew played well on Sunday. Bowers was incredible, but they just have a tendency to make critical errors, whether it's a penalty or a dropped coverage or a missed assignment on a block. They just they do the things that bad things do. I'm taking the Broncos on the road. Close game, I think. Good game. I think it's 23-20, but I just have more faith in the Broncos late than I do the Raiders.
Next up, the Packers. They are hosting the San Francisco 49ers.
It's a juicy game. It's an important game, really important game. Whew. Man, I don't know. The thing is as we're recording this Friday morning, Brock Purdy's been banged up. There's some debate as to whether or not Brock Purdy will even play. He finished the last game, which I would think means he's going to play. I'm going to bet Purdy plays, and I'm going to bet the Niners win the game. I know that they haven't played to this, but they're getting Kittle back. They need this game desperately, frankly, more than the Packers do. I'm taking the upset. I'm taking the Niners to get this thing done on the road. 24-23 Niners, and that's my biggest upset of the week so far.
Ross's Underdog of the Week.
Next up, the Arizona Cardinals at the Seattle Seahawks.
Feels like kind of a toss-up game. The only thing I would say is when we've last seen the Cardinals, they're playing really, really well. Whereas the Seahawks have been up and down all year. And the Seahawks, not only have they been on a roller coaster all year, they've been really bad at home. I mean, like surprisingly bad at home. So because of that, I'm taking the Cardinals on the road. Let me see who the favorite is. The Seahawks are the favorite by 1 point. So another upset, another underdog. I think the Cardinals are just a better team right now, and they've had more time to rest and prepare coming off the bye. Seahawks, everybody's patting them on the back after that big win. I think the Cardinals are going to Seattle and get it done. And I think it's 24-17. Cardinals win by 7 on the road in Seattle.
Next up, we have the Norm Van Brocklin Bowl. The Philadelphia Eagles, they're at the Los Angeles Rams.
Norm Van Brocklin. I love it, Jack. I love it when you bring up the history. This should be a fun game, right? I mean, I talked about it on the Ross Report on social media for the Eagles fans out there, at Ross Tucker NFL. But it's pretty cool when you think about the fact that you've got, the 2 favorites for Rookie of the Year in the NFL right now. Jared Verse from the Rams, who's been fantastic, the rookie edge rusher out of Florida State, and he's going against Quinyon Mitchell for the Eagles, the rookie first-round pick out of Toledo. What's kind of crazy about that, by the way, is Jared Verse went to Albany before Toledo, and those guys are the two guys up for Rookie of the Year. And also, both these teams have other good rookies. You know what I mean? Like, the Eagles also have Cooper DeJean, who's balling. The Rams also have Braden Fisk and Cam Kitchens, who are balling. So anyway, it just makes for a good matchup. And in particular, those Eagles rookie corners going against Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. I think this is going to be an awesome back and forth game. I think I'll take the Eagles to win late, but I think it's a close game. I think it's 27-24. I do think Stafford and the Rams score more points than anybody has against the Eagles in a while, but ultimately I just think the Eagles are the more talented team, and they pull it out late. But this could truly go either way. I'll go 27-24 Birds.
And we'll wrap things up with the Horrible, the Baltimore Ravens at the LA Chargers.
What a fun game. And how about it being back-to-back games, Sunday night and Monday night in Los Angeles? I think my buddy Kurt Warner is doing both of these games for Westwood One. He's out there in LA. Might as well just do back-to-backs. That's pretty cool. Awesome for him. And by the way, they're both good games. Don't believe when Jim Harbaugh says this is just another game. Don't believe that even a little bit. He's absolutely full of crap. I've had people tell me they think a big reason why he went to the NFL is because his brother has a Super Bowl Lombardi trophy, Super Bowl ring, and he doesn't, and he wants one. So I think there's going to be a bunch of points in this one. Steve Fezzik and I talked about that on the Even Money Betting podcast because both defenses have not been great as of late. We saw that with the Chargers and the way they got lit up by the Bengals. We've seen that with the Ravens at times. I just think this is one of those situations where the Chargers have been on a roll. They've won a bunch, but the Ravens need this desperately. The Ravens coming off that tough loss. I think they bounce back. I think they get the win. 24-20. What a weekend. I think we're done here.
Thanks for tuning in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Make sure to also check out Even Money, Fantasy Feast, and College Draft, all on the DraftKings Network, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.
myfrontpagestory.com. If you haven't at least gone to the website and check it out, please do so. myfrontpagestory.com. Big fan as well of backofficescheduler.com, humanheadnyc.com, Sporticulture,